Hey, what's up everyone, Mark Christian here, and today we'll be going over how to get rid of elbow pain when throwing the football. And there are really two main elbow pains that I think happen when you're throwing the ball. We're gonna go over both of them. We're gonna go over the anatomy of what's going on so you have a better understanding of what's going on the inside, why it's happening, what the pain is like, so you can kind of identify it properly and then be able to go over some of the fixes from a mechanical perspective. There are some great things you could do from a just warm up kind of cool down. So after you throw, I think there's a lot of athletes that don't go through like any type of stretches or put any type of heat or ice or anything like that. I think that's going to be important to be able to recover from this issue, but I want to give you a better understanding from a mechanical perspective what you can change to make it so then you can fix this problem. So first, when you're talking about the inside part of the elbow, this is going to be called like pitcher's elbow or little league elbow. It can also go into what ends up being a UCL tear, the Tommy John surgery. And a lot of times what that ends up being is just like what that joint is supposed to be doing is stabilizing the elbow. And so when you're feeling pain in that area, there's a few different things that could be happening, but the main thing ends up being you end up going too much probably around with the arm. So when you're throwing, what you want to be doing, or what the elbow joint is supposed to be doing, is more of like a here movement, and then there is some action that's going to be happening through the forearm. So it's normal for you to be doing that, but a lot of times what ends up happening if you start having that UCL problem is you're putting a lot more tension on that, right? So that rotation here, where really you have the whole tricep muscle, which is significantly bigger than the ligaments there in the elbow. And so you really want to be working on the extension. So if you're having pain here, the underlying problem is you're going either too much here, or you're just keeping the elbow too bent, right? When you're throwing, you're keeping the elbow too bent, and that puts a lot of pressure here, even if you kind of come across with the throw. And so you want to just be able to work on the release and making it so as you're extending in the arm, you're getting a full extension here and then kind of lightly working on the rotation. So I'd say try to eliminate the best you can. I'd start off by doing like maybe 5-10 yard throws where you're just working on being able to just extend the arm and come through. And that should be able to at least mitigate some of the pain. So it should feel like you're not putting more pressure on that. And then as you start to get better at that, you can go further and further away and hopefully be able to reduce that pain and feel better with it. I think it's going to be something that will take time to be able to have a long-term improvement on. But a couple reasons why that could be happening during the throw from a mechanical thing is if you're getting the ball too far back, then you might end up having to come around more, put more pressure on the rotation. Again, we're just thinking about the forearm here, and we're thinking about what's making it so I'm doing so much kind of over rotation in the forearm that's making it so then you end up having pain there. And so one would be coming too much across with the arm. And then the other thing is just as you're going through, if we're not getting the wrist into the right position, I think this is the more common one, is we need to be able to make sure we're getting the wrist all the way down and the ball facing all the way forward. I talk about this a lot when we talk about throwing the ball further, but it also helps in being able to take some of that pain off the elbows. You need to make sure that you're getting the wrist around quickly, because if you're releasing the ball like this, then what happens is now you have to kind of overcompensate, where if I'm here with it, now I can extend. So you can just work on getting that nose of the football. This is a drill that I just started working on a few years ago when I was working on my mechanics, is just being able to get the nose of the football around to be able to have a good position when the ball's coming out of the hand. So that's the first one, that inside elbow one. I think that's going to be the more likely issue for a lot of people. Again, the two reasons are coming around too much or not getting the wrist around. Okay, so we want to just be able to, an easy correction could just be getting a higher elbow with that. Now the other one, this is the one that I actually had a little bit more of a problem with when I was in college, which is just I'd get so sore, and I'm really good at like push-ups, pull-ups, things like that, and bench press, which means that my triceps are not necessarily weak, right? I don't necessarily have the strongest triceps of all time, but I know it's not a weakness in the body. But when I would throw for a long period of time, I really started to get a lot of pain in the back of my arm and down into the elbow, and it was more in that triceps, and it would feel weak, right? Because of how much extra emphasis I was putting on the tricep. And I found that what I think helped out the most with that was just being able to be more rotational in the lower half. And so where I think you end up wanting to be able to be better here, if you're feeling more of the back of the arm, is being able to keep your weight back more. Because when I was younger, what I would really try to do is I'd try to push all my weight onto my front foot right away. And I think that just made it so then I'd have to like really overextend because my sequencing is off. All of my weight was so forward so soon that when I threw the ball far, I had to really overextend in the arm. And so what you want to be able to do, I think, to fix the back of the arm issue is stay back, right? Bend that back knee, keep that weight on your back foot. So now when you're rotating, we're really working on internal rotation of that back leg. So then we're getting here, right? Because what happened when I would throw when I was younger is I would get here right away, where I'm just going off to the side, and then I'd be really trying to extend over the top there. And I think that overextension out in front made it so then that put a lot of pressure on the triceps. And so what you want to be able to do is, instead of leaning, we want to be rotating with the hips and really get those hips around to make it so that I'm more controlled with that extension within the arm. Or another thing could be kind of the opposite of what I was just talking about. So one of the things that helps with being able to address that inside elbow issue is to be able to get better extension in the elbow and in the hand. Okay, so we're getting that good wrist flick. But the way to be able to then fix the other option, right? So if I'm having the tricep issue, then I would need to get a little bit more rotation out of the wrist. Okay, so if you're having pain here, we need to get more extension, use more of that tricep muscle. Okay, we're not using the triceps as good as you can, but if you're having the opposite problem, right, the tricep issue, that means we could probably get more rotation, really get that index finger to come all the way around as you're getting rid of the ball, to make it so then you're putting the right amount of force within the hands, because the elbow is supposed to do extension and rotation. So it's kind of an overuse of one or the other if you're feeling it in different parts of the elbow. So it gives you a good understanding of what needs to happen. In general though, I think we need to be able to work on what we're doing within the lower body, what we're doing within the core, because if you're getting any type of upper body overuse, then we know there's some issues within the lower half that can be better. I have a lot of videos that go in depth into what we could be doing better in the lower half when it comes to the push off and the rotation and how to use the feet and where our feet want to be and where our weight wants to be when throwing the ball. You can look more into that. But the big thing is just giving you a better understanding of what it is that you're working with the elbow, what's going on, giving you a better understanding from a mechanical perspective what you could work on to be able to fix it, and hopefully that will end up giving you a lot of success when it comes to throwing the football better, as well as get rid of some of that overuse. So if you like the video, click that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. If you have any questions, comments, recommendations, leave those down below. We have great things for any quarterback that's looking to get better with their throwing motion. If you want to check out the links down below, we have Quarterback University, throw program, all that type of good stuff. So again, thanks for watching. We'll talk to you soon.